Hey there, VIP members. It's Larry. Thanks for clicking in and seeing what we got to say. For those of you who aren't full members, join us at larryvip.com. You'll get my free newsletter and you'll get a free message from me, like we're starting with this video today. And we start with kind of a recap of the stories that we've done on the morning show. This is sort of our intermission after the morning program in Washington, D.C., heading toward the Larry Town Hall Media Show at noon today. And the top story that I really enjoyed had to do with President Trump answering a very important question about whether he's willing to defund NPR. Take a look at his answer, and then we'll talk about it.
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congress has backed it. Would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty. Look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it. And it's a waste of money, especially. I don't even know what DOJ's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse. Right?
That's right. And God bless that man for that answer. It warms the cockles of my heart. And just so you know, looking forward, today will be that committee hearing that the reporter was referring to, the DOJ committee headed up by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. So what does this mean? My friends, are we finally moving towards seeing Elmo and Kermit the Frog panhandling on the streets of Washington, D.C., hoping to get their money back because they're not picking it out of your pocket? God, let's hope so. President Trump has finally set his sights on the twin sacred cows of liberal sanctimony, NPR and PBS. He told all the reporters, and you just saw it, that not only does he look forward to doing this, he said that he would love to. He'd be very honored to yank the federal funding from these places. You know, let's savor this for a moment. NPR and PBS, tax-funded cathedrals of cardigan-clad virtue. Long, the audio-visual comfort food for people who think diversity means owning both a Prius and a Subaru. They're the outlets that gave us Sesame Street. Great. What have you done for me in the last 50 years? Yes, they taught me how to count to 10 while some blue furry monster with googly eyes munched on cookies. And NPR brings us All Things Considered. But have you noticed on All Things Considered that they don't actually consider all things, only lefty things? And every story on that show sounds like it's narrated by a therapist on Quaaludes. Trump's not wrong to smell a stinking, rotting corpse of a rat over there in the corridors of NPR's offices. They get $500 million a year to these two agencies, shoveled by the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. That's enough money for every American to buy a good burger instead of another Ken Burns documentary about the finer points of cloth lint. They spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived, President Trump said. And it's true. NPR's newsroom recently boasted 87 registered Democrats to 0 Republicans. Does that sound like a newsroom? Well, actually, yes. That exact same ratio is probably replicated at NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, and that's the point. Why do we have to subsidize what we're already getting shoved down our throats? NPR is too busy closing DEI offices over there thanks to Trump's executive orders, so they forgot to do anything other than broadcast sanctimonious guilt. So here comes MTG, ready to grill the CEOs on Capitol Hill today, demanding to know what taxpayers are funding there. Why are we bankrolling propaganda for people who think flyover country is actually a leper colony? NPR and PBS, all their fans, they're going to start screaming and crying that defunding them is going to kill Big Bird, and that's just fine with me. Last I checked, Elmo's got enough merchandising revenue to buy Montana. And NPR will scream that rural radio stations will be bankrupt if they're not there, and no one in rural areas will get their news, and that's just a joke. We've got, as Trump put it, plenty of coverage, zillions of other outlets. Why are we still writing checks for this twee tyranny of NPR and PBS when we know for a fact that the media landscape looks a little different than it did in 1968? Not only cable and streaming, but podcasts and every kind of political, pop culture, and entertainment, news and information is delivered right to you based on your demands. And that's the way it ought to be. Let them survive on their tote bag sales and guilt-tripped donations like the rest of us. As for me, I'm with Don. I'm with my president. I'm with Trump. Defund it, pass the popcorn. It's time the swamp finally drain something other than my wallet. And if they've got great content that's worthy of funding, guess what? They'll be just fine. But let them fight for it based on their actual content creation, not based on being a panhandler like the rest of us. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to become a subscriber, a free subscriber over at larryvip.com. You'll get a free newsletter. You'll get free messages like this. And if you want to up your game, you can become a paid subscriber if you'd like. Again, not asking for a donation. You get something for it. You'll get lots of paid subscriber-only content, including tons of my observations on news, politics, and pop culture. Just swing on over to larryvip.com. And again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.